Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my channel, and also welcome back to the Anime Podcast Show. How's your year so far for 2023? Well, for me, kind of between the highs and the lows, but everything's so good with me. But anyway, let's start off with what I'm going to be talking about today. So, as of you saw in the thumbnail and the title for the video, and I'll be covering this franchise, and of course, will be turning a milestone for the last 40 years. Let me explain about this Momentum franchise. This story sets in a post-apocalyptic world after a nuclear war. Our protagonist, Kenshiro, is a successor of deadly martial art known as Hakuto Shuriken, which gives him the ability to kill his opponents by striking their secret fatal points, which often results in an exceptionally violent and gore death. Kenshiro dedicates his life to fighting against gangs, bandits, and warlords who threaten the lives of the defenseless and innocents, as well as a rival martial arts known as Fist of the North Star. Yes, I am going to be talking about Fist of the North Star, because this franchise is turning 40 years of the manga. That's exciting. September 13th, 1983, since it got published. So that's exciting. So let's take a look at the history of how the series came together of what it is today. As of Fist of the North Star, as we all know that this huge massive franchise by two creators who wrote and illustrated this crazy ambitious story. Names were Birodsen and Tetsuo Hira. Here's where the development had begun. Tetsuo is a fan of Bruce Lee as well as action manga. He wanted to create that he can shock the world, and one point Tetsuo got contacted by his editor Nobuhiko Harare to ask for, "You want to write a manga Chinese martial arts story?" So that's when it started working out. A prototype version of Fist of the North Star was published as a one-shot story in April 1983 issue of Fresh Jump. And 2 months later, a second prototype one-shot manga got published for June 83 issue. The two shots were well received by the readers' surveys of Fresh Jump, and Tetsuo was commissioned to turn Fist of the North Star into a weekly series. Bronson is an assist to work with Tetsuo as a writer for the serialized version. They want the story originally taking place in the modern day in the 1980s, but then decided to scrap that idea, turned it into a post-apocalyptic world. It got inspired by Mad Max 2, Blade Runner, and reading Akira. As it got contracted originally for 3 years, but due to the popularity, a lot of demands as well, it went extended for 5 years. Fist of the North Star, published in Weekly Shonen Jump magazine on 13th of September 1983, and ended their run in August 1988, lasting for 245 issues. For the English release, there's actually numerous releases. Let's start off with the first one. In 1989, Viz Media published the first 16 chapters as an 8-issue monthly comic, then later reprinted those 16 chapters in one single graphic novel collection in 1995. Also, in that year from Viz Media, resuming the publishing of the series as a monthly comic until 1997, lasting for 18 issues, diving into 3 parts. Then in 2002, and a second English release was published by Gutsoon Entertainment under the title of Fist of the North Star Master Edition, which retained the original right-to-left orientation, but it featured digitally colored artwork until 2004. They stopped, for unknown reasons, released for 9 volumes. However, the 10th volume was supposed to come out, but it probably didn't make the deadline in time. Maybe, I don't know. In 2021, for a third release, actually this time is by Viz Media, for a print and digital releases of the manga, translated the 2013 Ultimate Editions. Actually, right now, as of now, this video comes out, they had released 9 volumes available out of 18. and finally got the treatment that the fans what they really want. With making an anime series, this is right before Dragon Ball, before Sailor Moon, before One Piece, or even Digimon. Fist of the North Star is one of the first big series that was produced and animated by Toei Animation and aired on October 1984 to March of 87, lasted for 109 episodes, until eventually a follow-up sequel, Fist of the North Star number 2, aired a week after the original series ended, aired for 43 episodes, lasted for almost a year from March 87 to February 1988, combining it together in total 152 episodes. The full series never released on VHS in Japan. After they ended their run, however, they released in 3 VHS releases as an hour-long compilation films covering the first, second, and fourth arcs. In 1985, Fist of the North Star has received a greenlit to produce in a feature film by the same studio. Cast and crew are back to make a feature film. Also, they are going to make the film by scratch, due to the lack of violence from the TV series. So, this film retains more violent content of the original manga, but it's not directly adaptation, but instead tells an alternative version from the first 75 chapters and different plot points and elements, and that film will be out in March of 86. In 2003, an OVA series titled New Fist of the North Star that takes place after the events of the main series, adapting the Cursed City storyline. Then, in 2005, announced by TMS Entertainment, they are developing a 5-part film series titled Fist of the North Star: Legends of the True Savior. It will be a reimagined of events of the story. It would be spanning to release between 2006 to 2008 as in a 25th anniversary project. Excuse me, sir, do you think they will make an English dub for Fist of the North Star? Oh yes, they will. But we're gonna talk about it right now. To the English dub. Oh great, this is gonna be a long, weird history, but let's break it down for it. It starts off with airing Fist of the North Star in English subtitles on Nippon Golden Network in the late 1980s, and in the future will be time they will adapt it into English. For producing the dub, the first thing they dubbed will be the theatrical movie. It would be produced, distributed, and released as an English release in cinemas in a brief run in 1990 by Streamline Pictures. Then 9 years later will be time to dub the series, dubbed by Animes, dubbed by the first 36 episodes, and distributed by Manga Entertainment, with their release on VHS, 24 episodes, spread across 8 tapes. But suddenly went on DVD a couple of times with different releases. One released in 2003, that release includes the English dub, and the other release by Discotek Media with the subtitle release. However, with the first release will be included the first 36 episodes in English, then later released as a full box set in one single set as Fist of the North Star Complete Series Collection. With more English dubs comes in after Animes and Manga Entertainment production, the new Fist of the North Star mini OVA series dubbed by ADV Films that got in a release in 2004. And the other one I've mentioned about Legends of the True Savior movies. At this time, they released one movie, and that would be Chapter of Death and Love, dubbed by Sound Cadence Studios, and released in 2023. And especially I heard 2 more VOs who voiced Kenshiro in the past are going to reprise their roles, can't name who they are, and we're going to hear them in the next 4 releases, and would be coming out in the near future by Discotek Media. What is the legacy for the franchise? Well, the franchise has been growing due to the fandom from boys to young men to adults who read or even watches the anime, now bringing their kids' interest with this massive franchise that has started in the early 80s. And Fist of the North Star is one of those series that came out from Weekly Shonen Jump, and also it's the most popular titles during the 80s. It's one of the best-selling mangas in history and sold worldwide 100 million copies, and actually impacted and considered being as the most influential mangas of all time. Hoping in the future to the next generation, they will enjoy this classic post-apocalyptic storyline for newer fans to come. that will be it for the Fist of the North Star's 40th anniversary celebration. Hope you all enjoy this. Comment, like, and hit that notification bell if you haven't done it yet. Click that notification bell if you're curious when I next time upload again. So, thank you so much, everyone, for listening or watching this. And that is it for the Enemy Podcast Show. Take care of yourselves and stay safe out there, and peace!